Welcome back, Wagoneers, to another exciting segment of In No Particular Order. Chopsley, can you believe these fuckers over here? They're gonna list their top 5 favorite places that ain't there no more.
Ain't there no more.
So who wants to take us away?
Well, Morris, I would love to take us away to a place very fond in my heart.
Is this an honorable mention or is this?
Yesteryears. No. I haven't really figured out the 1 through whatever. This is probably a 1 through 15.
Wait, yesteryears? Is that your pick?
No.
I've never heard of that.
No, yesteryears is time a long time
He
ago.
just means back in the day.
Back in the
Back
day.
in the day when
All right, so honorable mention. Tiffin. We had spoke about it. Pretty much it's on everybody's.
Mike's favorite
list.
waitress worked there.
Yes, my favorite waitress worked there.
Was it a waitress or waiter?
It was non-binary.
We still, 2025, we still don't know.
It was non-binary.
K&B, you know,
Ain't there no
they ain't
more.
there no more.
Yep.
K&B was a drugstore, local drugstore, and when Walgreens and CVS took over the world, they got put out of business. Poor K&B. Next two is kind of hand in hand, really. Schwegmans and Canal Villery.
Oh.
Canal Villery is a name I haven't heard in a while.
Both grocery stores fond to me because I used to go there when I was a kid, and we actually knew somebody that worked at Schwegmans, and I don't know, it was like a to-do thing. Next one on the list, Trey-Bon. I recently discovered ain't there no more.
What?
They shut down on Jefferson Highway, Trey-Bon. It was a barbecue eatery.
Trayvon?
Trey-Bon. It was over there by like Little Farms and
Is that like Trey Ball?
Little Farm and Jeff Highway.
Trey-Bon, yeah.
Was it supposed to be like Trey Ball? Like,
I don't
French.
have the coon ass,
Trey Ball.
accent, but yes.
Cajun.
Someone bought it and they're reopening. I think it's Susie's.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's like an Italian and seafood place.
Seafood, yeah.
So one of my good friends lives on Andrew Street, which is a side street of where Trayvon is. So I've been there plenty of times. So I know what you're talking about.
Trey-Bon. We used to go there when I worked a lot. Good food. Lagers. Honorable mention, Lagers. Awesome. That's probably one of y'all's
Should have been on my
top
list too.
We miss Lagers. Please come
Only
back.
an honorable mention. How dare you?
I know. I have so many.
We want loggers.
Um,
Fuck you, Shake Shack.
Wob, World of Beer.
Oh,
I miss you, Wob.
fuck that place.
No, I miss Wob.
Trash.
I spent quite a little bit of time at Wob. Got the T-shirt, did all the shit.
First time I've ever heard it called Wob, by the way.
I thought he said WAP at first. I was like, well, that's going to be interesting.
Mike has been known to say that a few times.
All right. Let's see. 1, 2.
Have we made it to the top 5 yet?
No, not yet.
This is his second honorable mention list.
My top 15.
15.
I think he's over 15.
All right, next one. Real dear to my heart. Six Flags, New Orleans.
Okay.
What? Sorry, Jazzland.
Jazzland.
Everything on
Jazzland.
Everybody's list with top 15.
Jazzland.
He's already taken a few of mine. Huh?
Very dear to my heart. We went there when we were kids.
I don't think any of us have to go.
It was really, really good. Really good place. I'm trying to make this as fast as possible. All right, my top 5. Steak and Ale. Next one. Luther's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next one, only because I've probably spent way too much time at this place. Not that it's like a super special place, just it's special to me personally. Circuit City.
I thought about putting that on mine.
Circuit
I
City.
used to like them.
We in high school, I pretty much lived there.
I used to hang
So
out
we could
there.
buy the CDs, man.
Next one. All right, top 3.
Celestial bodies.
That was where I met the
Wait a second,
pregnant.
top three.
That's where I met the pregnant stripper.
You said 5 steak and ale, 4 luchas, 3 Circuit City. So that's
Okay.
the third one.
That was 3A.
All right,
This is 3B
That's
now.
that's not adding up here.
whatever, man. Next one.
The math's not mathing.
Top three. Top three. Here we go. You ready?
The steak and ale is an honorable mention.
I don't know.
A little
Let's
bit.
count.
One of those 3.
All right, top three. Putt.
Damn. The one by Burger King. You
Yes.
said?
Putt
That
putt.
close
The,
more like 6 though.
the original putt.
Wait, where was this? By which Burger King?
Yeah, Burger King like trans.
Celebration
Oh.
Station.
Yeah.
Okay.
Celebrate
Is that
putt
them too?
Celebration Station.
Or they come
No,
up together?
I think I just added
You
one.
just mash them together.
All right.
An amalgam of fun places for kids.
Mike's top 25. Ain't there no more.
I think Mike's covering
Part
Alright.
one. Part one.
Top two. Top two. Like for real. Top two. Super Popeyes.
Okay.
Fuck!
They used to have really, really good grilled chicken.
The one in Kenner, or actually the one in Metairie, the buffet.
They were so good.
There was two of them.
Yeah.
They're all right here. I could walk to those.
Yep.
Yep. All
So
right.
steak and ale too.
And my number one, absolutely, I miss this fucking place. Club 360.
Ain't there no more.
Not Tremors.
Club 360.
Not Tremors.
Was that the one that was at the top of
The World Trade Center?
Not Fun Works.
I
Fun
almost
Factory.
added Fun Works.
Oh wait, shit, Zach's frozen yogurts.
Okay.
Oh,
Stop.
man.
Stop naming things.
Stop.
He's naming the whole list of Benny Grunch's song. Like all.
I'm a little surprised that Mike didn't have like Kenny's Key West on his list because I could see Mike. I could see you there
Kenny's Cheese
on
West.
Latin night.
So I went there one time, but where I did go there, like one time when I wasn't at work, I did go there while I was working many a times.
As an EMS or just in general?
Probably
No.
respond to the shoot.
EMS, stabbings and shootings
Oh,
all
boy.
fucking time.
I know. I was thinking that like you just took a side trip on work to go
When did
for
that,
play.
when did that place close?
Kenny's Key West.
Yeah, when did that
Like
close?
right before Katrina.
Okay.
I was working back then still.
I'm gonna.
I'll go ahead, go
wait,
next.
I want to get mine out the way since he named like half my damn list
Okay.
already.
I'll follow you on this.
And it's, Egg Roll House is not on my list.
Rest in peace.
I know. I'm dying rotten hell. But anyway, yeah, I'll just give a nod to Tiffin Inn. I don't have to speak about Tiffin Inn. And
Waiter included. Waiters included.
the non-binary included. I didn't know specifically what to pick from this place, but I had to say Esplanade Mall. Since it just seems like a freaking dead soldier right now. It's like when you go in Target and Kenner and they have the doors that would go out in there and you're just staring into a black abyss now. It just seems so weird.
Do you feel that dark abyss?
Because I didn't want to pick
did I
like
forget that?
Spencer's, Sports Avenue. I mean, shit, I used to get my glasses at LensCrafters and, things like that.
We
There you
used to
go.
hang out
Champ
at the mall.
Sports. Then, all right, moving on. Combo, but it's the same thing. It's either Major Video or Blockbuster. I mean, Major Video was more local, right? I mean, it's not like that was a huge chain, but then just any video store in general.
So close to my house.
Blockbuster. Buying concert tickets at Major Video.
So me and Jamie, we would have a little deal. You know how you could pick two movies for like
Mm-hmm.
the price or whatever? Well, she would start on one wall and pick a movie, and I would start on the other wall and pick a movie, and we would come back with two movies.
And then y'all go, fuck no, and you go start over again.
We've already shared the store multiple times of our dad rents showgirls for us at that Major Video by our house.
I just remember how many, when Blockbuster was still open, the Coke caps, when you could enter in the codes on the Coke caps
Yep.
and get free movie rentals. I remember and they didn't have a limit on the coupons. I'd rent 5 movies for free. That's probably why they went out of business.
That's why they ain't there no more.
There no more.
So anyway, moving on. Mike mentioned grocery stores, but for me, not Schwegmann's, yes, but not Canal Villery. It was when it turned into Save-A-Center. I was always a Save-A-Center person over Rouse's. I was always like, oh, Save-A-Center's way better,
Oh, you were gonna
anti-Rouse's.
say Del Champs.
And then it... Ooh, But it's it's hilarious that Rouse's took over and Save a Center went under. But yeah, there was a Schwegmans. I remember the Schwegmans that had the old ass logo, the one that was on the bar and airline. That's close to where my grandma used to live.
Used to have Melinda Schwegman's face on the bag.
Probably. But that's like a strip mall now with like Papa John's and all kinds of crap in it now. Then, like I said, I keep this quick because Mike already took Super Popeyes from me. I thought about that one. I didn't know there was more than one. I thought
Random that
the
you
only
whole big Super Popeyes.
that was
Yeah,
the only
one
time
of
that
them
you'd ever go in a
Yeah.
well because they had like a salad bar or something too, right?
Yeah, they had a bar. It was
Right.
all you could eat buffet.
Yeah, there you go.
pay one price.
Mm-hmm.
All the chicken.
I can picture the place. I can picture the booths, and it was kind of elevated. And
See,
the
I
one
would
that was
go
right
to the
over.
one in Kennermore because that was
Yeah,
closer.
I don't even remember the one in Kenner. I only remember the
Oh,
one
yeah.
right here,
Yeah.
where Chick-fil-A is now, or where Panda Express is. I think Chick-fil-A is where Steak and Ale was. But yeah, and then I have K&B on the list. K&B specifically the one that was in the Lakeside Mall that you could walk from outside through it to go into the mall. I used to do that with my grandma all the time. She would we'd park there and take me through the K&B before we went to the mall. And I mean, not specifically K&B per se, but just just memories of K&B as a child, And then this could kind of lump this. I'm already down in the top two. This could lump into Esplanade Mall, but for me, being a music guy, I miss Camelot, which became FYE, and I miss FYE in general because even when I was still trading in CDs and shit like that, I was the one in Esplanade closed. I started going to the one in Slidell, wherever the hell it was. I forget. Can't even remember what that mall is called. That one went to shit.
CDs. What is that?
And then the last time that I went to an FYE, I would drive all the way down to Houma. Oh yeah, I went to the FYE in Houma a couple of times to trade in shit to get money, cash for DVDs, CDs, whatever. But yeah, I missed those, and then sifting through used CDs and all that. And one of the only music stores that actually had heavy metal, like it wasn't just all rock and pop, and there's Metallica right next to, Incubus or something, or they had it very sectioned off and stuff like that. And then last but not least, probably on other lists, it's just because I'm going early, Toys R Us. Had memories of bringing my child there. That was the toy store. We used to bring her there, and of course I'd look at all the pop figures, and I should always walk out buying something. But yeah, it was just sad to see Toys R Us go.
Ain't there no more.
Ain't there no more. Now it's Floor and Decor. Oh boy.
That place is
I'll,
pretty awesome.
It actually is really awesome. Don't rag on Florida.
We're gonna go to Home Depot. Get some
the-
flooring, some wallpaper.
It's the 40-year-old Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
All right, so I'll go next. I definitely have a couple on here that no one else is gonna have. They're a little bit more personal, but I only have one honorable mention, and Mike has already mentioned it. But Jazzland / Six Flags. I used to buy season tickets to that place. I was there like every weekend. The place was amazing.
We probably ran into each other at one point.
There was a specific ride, the Mardi Gras Madness one. It was like the gun ride. Oh man, I miss the ride so much. Great place.
Our
Alright.
senior prom was there.
What's up?
Our senior prom was at
Oh,
it was
that's
Jazzland at the time.
I remember I
Got
had
stuck
a
on
wrestling-
the Zephyr for 30 minutes too. At senior prom.
I had a wrestling
I don't think the
tournament.
Zephyr was open.
Yeah.
It was?
Up at the right when it was going over the big hump, it just boop,
Oh,
stopped.
it was just a Ferris wheel.
like,
and,
oh, fuck.
carousel.
My cousins just got stuck up on I forget where they were, but the two little kids, they had to literally get them off on the top of the roller coaster and like walk down. They were like hysterical. I
man.
find it what they were. All right, so my number 5. I'm gonna start with Zephyrs and the Brass.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I miss going to both of those so much.
I missed the shrine. I mean, the shrine's
shrine
still
on
there,
Airline,
but
it's still there.
Russell's
Yeah.
causing me to rethink the whole list.
and I miss Zephyr's games. Yep.
I spent many times. I really miss the Brass. Like, funny enough, I'm picking a hockey team next pod, but yeah, I used to go to Brass games so
Yep.
much.
Some good memories.
My number 4, Crazy John's Steakhouse, which
It's coming back.
good news. It's coming.
The
back.
sign is
It's,
up. I passed it.
So I haven't passed it recently, but yeah, no, it's opening up right by the Petco.
Yeah, it's
Forget what that
right
other
across
place-
from where Chipotle and Lowe's is.
that shitty bar that
Yeah,
was there.
Shitty Bar. That's what it was
Yeah,
called.
It was called Shitty
it was
Bar.
City Bar. Yeah.
City Bar. All right, then my number 3. This is a lunch spot I used to go to all the time. It's called Kin Ramen. I I don't know. Yeah, that's right, Pat. This place was so special. It was the kind of place where they didn't have like a menu, like a daily. It would change daily. They did dumplings. They would have random ass dumplings. It'd be like chicken marsala dumpling, or red beans and rice dumpling, like just all over the place. The place was phenomenal. Really, really miss the place. I'm pretty sure Katrina ixnayed it. Not Katrina. Ida. Sorry.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to say they tried to come back and it just like didn't work. So number 2, this one's real personal for me. There was a building on Tulane Avenue called the Russell Building, and it was actually owned by my great grandfather Russell Kuko, who I'm named after.
Nice.
He's kind of a prominent figure, within the city. He owned a yacht right across from the old. What was that? Eat at Joe's Crab Shack. It was called the Good Neighbor. It had a restaurant on it. He's just a bunch of different businesses.
Did he own Kuko's?
Not Kuko's.
When you say
I almost put Kuko's on my list.
It's no Chi-Chi's.
when you say prominent, do you mean like mobster prominent, or
We're not gonna go there.
You can't talk about it. Okay. Understood.
I can't discuss these things.
It's classified.
So that was my number 2, and then my number 1 by like a landslide. I spent a large portion of my high school, younger life in this building, right next to the
Detention.
Dormax on Vets. It's called the Fun Arcade.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a 25-cent arcade. Everything
Yeah.
in there.
I went to the one on Vets closer in,
Ain't
you know,
that one.
that one more. But yes, I remember that one too. That one had like this painted building. It looked like more of like a fun house.
I got upset when that closed down.
When he said next to door next for a second, I thought he was going to say Olivier Council and LLC.
That still is there.
That's still there. Still there though.
It's still Dere.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Since I had to adjust my list. So now I have 3 honorable mentions.
Do you have a list?
I was trying to keep it to 2 for Patrick.
You had 7 honorable mentions.
Russell,
I said this would be the one I'll give a little leeway on.
I mean, there was honestly some other ones that another one that I just scratched off. I want to throw out one that is not necessarily an honorable mention, but it was the Warner Brothers store in the Riverwalk.
That was
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
It closed after I think the barge ran into it, right, and then reopened. But they had some cool shit in
That
there.
was an awesome store.
The barge, that was like the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been closed for a long
Yeah.
time. But they did some really cool Looney Tunes shit in there.
So Blockbuster Video, of course. I mean, I remember that was our summers as kids. We'd go rent a movie. We'd go rent a Super Nintendo game. We'd watch the movie, play games like all summer.
Get some candy.
I would check out the movie from the aisle, and there would be the best candy in the world sitting there, and that was the Cherry Cola Mike and Ike's, right in the little cherry slap in the Cherry Cola Mike and Ike's. Have yourself a video.
Those ain't there no more either. I haven't seen those in a long
Not a
time.
DVD either. You'd have yourself a VHS tape and a Super Nintendo game with some Cherry Cola Mike and Ike's.
VHS, baby.
So rest in peace. Rest in peace.
The best is when the
Blockbuster
movie had nothing, like none of the boxes behind it. When you found the box behind the wrong movie, it was like, oh, jackpot.
So obviously, me and Travis used to collect. We're heavily into collecting cards back in the day. So I was trying to think of like what the favorite card shop was, and I actually had Frank's on here first, and I was like, wait a minute, L&D was the best. So L&D on Severn, which is right around the corner
Division.
from Division. Yeah, it was on Division. Right around the corner from my old place of employment, Travis's current place of employment. The new owner has kind of moved it. He made it Markman's, so he bought out L&D and made it Markman, as was now on West Esplanade, but it's just not the same.
What is that place that was by Burlington? The one
That was Frank's.
that was Frank's?
It wasn't prime time?
No, Primetime was a shitty one that was right here on West Meadows.
Okay.
L&D's, that was our favorite as a kid. Me, Travis, and Trey used to go in there, and everything you asked the guy for, if you asked him for a certain player, he'd go in the back and get you a stack of cards of that player.
It was awesome.
Really cool experience as a kid if you collected cards. Last honorable mention is Esplanade Mall. You know, I was thinking of some stores in Esplanade
Right, that
Mall
was-
initially, like FYE and Camelot, and then of course Suncoast Video was one.
Oh,
I really liked
Suncoast.
as a kid.
Overpriced Suncoast, but you still loved going in there.
Yeah, 'cause they always had, because not only they had movies, they had cool action figures. They had
That
cool
was the
t-shirts.
only place in high school that I was able to find an Orgasmo VHS.
But Esplanade Mall was awesome. I mean, that me, Travis, and Evan Diaz used to hang out there like every weekend, like in the 8th grade. And Evan Diaz would always get a Playboy sticker from the 25-cent machine and Gadzooks.
Gadzooks,
And
wow.
he'd slap it on the post in front
Yep.
of Esplanade Mall, the Dillard side.
It where my mom or dad would always drop us off.
Uh-huh.
And that's when we'd leave the mall. My parents would be waiting there. Evan would slap the Playboy sticker on one of the posts right outside there. And people, I guess, mall workers would come scrape them off, and just slap another one on.
So,
If only those were wasted wagon stickers.
So we had a lot of fun times in there, like in middle school and high school.
Okay.
So rest in peace, Esplanade Mall.
I thought Spencer's was going to keep that mall open. Like Spencer's never was like probably the longest tenured store in that friggin' mall.
Well, I remember the last time I went there, it was
Journeys.
last time I went there, like all the big chain stores were closed, and it was basically like local like homemade clothing stores,
Right.
and it was shit.
I think that Dillard's outlet is still open,
Yeah,
believe it or
whatever.
not. And it's like I haven't been in that Dillard's in years.
So when I saw it like that, I was like, man, this is not gonna last much longer. Sure enough, it closed like I think a year later.
Remember Mervin's?
Yeah.
I remember going there like on Sundays after church and lunch to go buy like more clothing and stuff like that. I remember going to Mervin's all the time.
I stopped the escalator there as a kid. I was playing with the button at the bottom and shut the whole escalator down, and my mom was livid.
So number 5 was already mentioned by Mike, and that's Lagers. I mean, Lagers was the best place to grab a beer on tap. They had so many beers on tap. It was, you didn't have to drop into New Orleans. It's just, I don't know, it felt like home.
Right under Wob.
Oh,
Nope.
no, are you really saying that World of Beer is better than Lagers?
Get out of here.
No, right under Wob was Mooyah.
Literally.
But I mean, it was like, and even working at my old place of employment, Travis's current place of employment, we would do something called tea, which is teachers engaging in alcohol on every other
Nice.
Friday.
It's tea time.
And Lagers was one of the prime places we go because it was right there.
Nice.
But it's missed. I still have not eaten that Shake Shack since it's open
Me
there.
neither.
Yeah, Shake Shack, right?
Mhm.
I get the
Not-
name mixed
not
up
the
with
shi-
steak
not-
and
not the Shimmy
steak and
Shack.
shakes. So it's
Shimmy
in,
Shack's still there, surprisingly.
have not eaten that Shake Shack since it opened because I'm still pissed that Lagers closed. It's a fuck Shake Shack.
I've actually never eaten at Mooyah, believe
Well,
it
we're
or
never
not.
getting that sponsorship.
It might even be good, but you know.
Biff even worked at Mooyah for a while, and I've still have yet to eat at Mooyah.
Number 4, and I'm surprised. Sean, you already went, right? I'm surprised Sean didn't mention this one. Pizza Florence. Best.
Damn it.
Looked like
Yeah.
a gas station bathroom that served pizza with the rude Russian waitress that slammed the pizza on the table. But what you want?
P-Flow.
What was that chicken?
It was the
thing?
best barbecue
Florentine?
chicken.
Barbecue chicken pizza.
Pizza
the,
Florentine, yeah.
The salad, too. The,
Pizza.
Pizza Florentine.
Pizza.
the grilled chicken, the
Florentine.
grilled,
It was
grilled
so
chicken
good.
salad. They put that thin sliced chicken on it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, and I mentioned that I think when we did the restaurants, I had it in there, and like the barbecue chicken pizza had the shaved chicken on it. And they probably did that to save money.
Yeah.
Did
It worked.
did it annoy you every time the Russian lady would bang on the table and disrupt you and interrupt what you're trying to do?
Interrupt the microphone. Like,
Something like that.
pretty much.
Glad those are empty.
Pizza Florentine.
Moving on. Number 3. Phil's Grill.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they opened up the Desi Vega burger place, which is still good. It's good.
Well, the only
but it's
restaurant
not
that popped in my head
God.
was Super Popeyes, and not those two, which I ate
Phil's
at 10
Grill.
times more than Super Popeyes.
It's the best build your own burger place on the planet. I mean, you can get the bison burger, you get a turkey burger, you can put whatever the hell you wanted on it. You can get a scrambled egg on it if you wanted.
Peanut butter and a
You know,
scrambled
Phil,
egg.
Phil was usually there in the restaurant talking to people. You know, he just seemed like a very, very personable guy. Missed that place. Like I said, the Desi Vegas place is good. It's just not the same.
I missed the Irish Channel nachos, which were not nachos; they were all potato skins.
Yeah, those were good.
I would get that as an
There we
entree.
go.
Like I'd get that as takeout and eat that as an entree. I wouldn't even get a burger sometimes. Just eat a whole thing of Irish Channel nachos. It's good shit.
All right, number 2 was Sean's number 1, and that's the Toys R Us. I mean, working at my old place of employment, sometimes when I just needed a break, I'd just go over to Toys R Us, which was right there, and just look what kind of action figures they had. You know, they were probably one of the best places to buy Funko Pops. They were the best place to find like the special releases of Funko Pops. You know, because I'm really sad that I don't really get to share this experience with my kids. You know, with my kids. You know,
That was a go-to thing. I would bring my child, and it was like, let's go to the toy store, and we'd go to Toys R Us and just stick around.
I mean, I don't know. It sucks that they're not around anymore, and there's no real actual toy stores anymore. If you remember, where kids, they had Children's Palace too.
Yeah.
Now you don't have anything. It's like
You got the long
Children's
Palace.
you get Leisure. Now Leisure, me and Travis used to collect those Corinthian headliners. And Leisure had a ton of them.
That's how you say the name of that place?
Leisure.
Okay.
But yeah, like me aside from like the fun of the headliners there, Leisure was no.
What about KB Toys?
KB Toys was good too.
That was in Lakeside.
That ain't that no more.
Yeah.
Somebody
It wasn't
was
K and B Toys,
somebody
right? It
was-
was KB Toys.
Somebody was an employee there. All right, the last one. I mean, I had Toys R Us as my number one as well until Russell mentioned this one, and it's like I totally wasn't thinking about it because I was thinking mainly of places like restaurants and like stores and businesses. But the New Orleans Brass is easily number one. I mean, that was me and Travis's high school weekends right there. We would go to like 2 games every weekend. It just sucks that there's no live hockey in this area. That's why we got to venture out to Mississippi, and God forbid I have to go to Baton Rouge to watch a Zydeco game. But hopefully,
But you will.
hopefully we'll go check out a Seawolves game this year. Just not the same as having it, 25.
Go to Biloxi to watch a Shuckers game.
Ain't that no more.
Right there, no more.
All right, well, I'll go. I've kind of lumped some together here based upon things that have been said multiple times, so I won't spend too much time on it. So honorable mentions here, and really, I'll start with the New Orleans Brass. It really should be in my top 5, but because it's already been mentioned a couple times, I'll leave it out. Tiffin Inn, also, but like Todd said with the Brass, Todd and I were actually debating on getting a weekend season ticket package with the Brass the year they left town. And that was a big bummer to us because we had a car, we had a job, we had enough money to pay for it. So it was something we were really looking forward to, and ended up kind of getting pulled out from under our feet. But we spent many a nights at Brass games. Our cousin Jason would always do the dance for your dinner, and he'd take his shirt off and spin it around his head, and he ended up winning a few times. Great times there. Tiffin Inn was another honorable mention, was our breakfast spot right around the corner from the house I grew up in.
After Rummel exams, man, that's where we go.
Rummel exams, late nights going out drinking,
I just remember one.
2 or 3 in the morning, sometimes eating breakfast at Tiffin Inn.
I think I know what you're talking about, too.
Yeah.
Honorable mention also been mentioned by pretty much everybody here. Esplanade Mall. I mean, that was a big piece of our childhood, teenage years, especially really kind of the first place I guess your parents kind of let you go off by yourself. They just drop you off as a teenager, and then I'll come back and pick you up in 3 hours or whatever, and then you would go hang out with your friends and have a good time. And y'all mentioned some good stores in there that I almost forgot about, which between Camelot and Suncoast and of course Spencer's. But
Gadzooks.
a whole bunch of good stores, and my fondest memory of that was going with Evan Diaz and him making sure to buy a Playboy Bunny sticker every time he went and slap it on the post when we left. All right, so I'm gonna jump into two more honorable mentions that haven't been mentioned, and this one was since Heather came up with this idea, I reached out to her and I said I'm about to do the Ain't There No More Top 5. You should send me some that you think I would think about. And this was actually a place that it was like a summertime restaurant that my mom would always take Todd and I to with my sister. And it's not there anymore. A lot of people don't know about it, but it was on the 2nd floor of Dillard's in Lakeside Mall, and it was called Potpourri Restaurant. And it was a good lunch spot.
Yeah.
They had the best poppy seed dressing. The best.
And they had kind of like
That was very unique.
they had a guy,
seed dressing.
It was
the
inside
second
Dillard's?
floor of Dillard's.
yeah, upstairs, and like you gotta walk through the
remember
clothes,
that?
and then there's a restaurant in there, and they had a busboy with special needs who was very friendly with us because we'd go so many times that he was he'd treat us like family when we went in there. It was really good restaurant. So shout out to Potpourri as an honorable mention. Todd mentioned this one not necessarily in his didn't mention it as an honorable mention or his top 5, but Children's Palace. Children's Palace was another really cool toy store in Metairie. It was shaped like a friggin' castle. The outside appealed to a lot for
Where was that at?
it was where like CompUSA replaced it.
Shit, there's one. CompUSA.
The laser tag.
Yeah,
place.
then laser tag, and then now Aldi. So there's been a bunch of stuff, but I know they kind of were a little bit, way more or less mainstream than Toys R Us, but they had like unique toys that sometimes Toys R Us didn't have. So it was definitely pretty cool to go there, and like I said, the outside appeal brought you in.
Real quick on that. Right before they closed, I went in there and I begged my mom to buy me a Swamp Thing action figure. And this one was special because you dip it in like water, like
Change
cold,
color. I had
and
that
it'll
one.
change color. Did you have that one?
I had that one. Yep.
So I got home, I was all excited. I was like, I can't believe, thank you, Mom, for buying me this. I got home and I tried like the cold water, hot water thing. Did not fucking work.
Did
I
you
was
throw it
so
in
pissed
some?
off.
You got the knockoff.
So Children's Pals will be my last one I'll mention. Jumping in the top 5. Nobody's mentioned this one, and maybe nobody really liked going here, but as a kid, my mom would frequent Walmart a lot, and I used to dread going to Walmart just because it was always crowded, and I never really enjoyed it. But their enemy or their rival at the time, Kmart, I used to actually enjoy going to Kmart because it was a lot less crowded. They had pretty similar stuff. It was right by our house, so it was really close to our house.
Little Caesars.
They used to have the Little Caesars with the spaghetti buckets.
Spaghetti buckets, yep. Mm-hmm. So number 5 is going to go to Kmart. I always enjoyed going there a lot more than Walmart. Number 4, we mentioned this. I don't even know how we got on this topic. It wasn't particularly like a top 5 or anything like that. But we talked about movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
The United Artists Theater was hands down my favorite theater out in Kenner. I used to enjoy just kind of getting dropped off there. They had like the theaters like way in the back. You had to almost like walk a mile to get to the movie theaters, past the concessions. That was the first place I really
I can
started.
still picture the blue and the color in there. Yeah.
It was awesome. I saw the Newton Boys there, which is my favorite movie of all time. First place I had Care Bear Gummy Bears, which ended up being my really good, probably one of my favorite candies of all time. So United Artists Theater gets my number 4. Number 3 has been mentioned by both Todd and Mike, and Sean may have had this one on his list too. It's also been mentioned all the time, but it has to be in my top 5 because we spent a lot of time here. Todd and I have never been like party boys to the extent of like going to club. Like going clubbing was never an enjoyable thing for me. In order for me to get out on a dance floor, I have to be annihilated drunk.
Same.
So my enjoyment of going out always involved around going to a sports bar, getting a good beer, places that had many on tap. There has never has been, and we'll probably never see it again, another Metairie bar that is more enjoyable to go to than lagers.
Wow.
So
Wob sucked.
I went to.
Wow.
So let me explain my WAP experience. Since Mike keeps mentioning WAP.
I don't need to hear it.
The only time
Wob's about as enjoyable as sitting on a spike dildo.
The only time I went to WAP
That's an
was
episode title.
I went there and had lunch with a couple of coworkers, and I had my son with me. And then they come up to the table and they said, he can't be in here. And I was like, why can't he be in here? And I said, well, y'all are not a restaurant and bar or a
Bar and grill.
bar and grill. And they said, no, we're considered a tavern, so you have to be 21 to enter. So I've never went back. That was my one experience with that place. Never went back.
I remember the time we were trying to go with y'all. I never actually went in there because I remember one time we tried to go and it was like the line was like down the stairwell.
Yeah.
It was like we couldn't get in the place and we like 30
Remember
minutes
that.
and was like screw that. We went somewhere else.
So my favorite thing about that place, and I don't want to jump in on your
Yeah.
top,
Yeah, fine.
whatever.
You might
But
convert him.
while we're talking about
think so.
Wob, my favorite thing about that place was the infusion beers.
Okay.
And so they would
like
mix
like
different.
Barney's?
They would mix different beers together, and then add fruits like fresh fruits in them. It was awesome. It was amazing.
Lagers greater. Lagers comes in at number 3.
My favorite thing about Wob was when it closed.
All right, number 2. If we go back to my favorite restaurants, Sean already mentioned this in his, or was it was Mike? Was it Mike? Maybe Mike and Sean. But this was my number 1 restaurant, and that's Steak and Ale. I used to, Metairie Steakhouse, reasonably priced steak, very good. Had great bread that they served you before your steak.
Like the Bry rules.
That place was awesome. It's kind of like Crazy Johnny's, reasonably priced, not ridiculously priced. But I'm a big steak guy, and the Steak and Ale was my number 1 restaurant. It's coming in at my number 2 as far as Ain't There No More's. And my number one's been mentioned by pretty much everybody here, but that's got to be Toys R Us. I mean, like Toys R Us, it was a place that I enjoyed going to as a kid, but even as an adult, with the collectibles and whatnot that are, you know, kind of adult friendly, it used to be fun to go see the new releases of Funko Pops, which ones they had, because they used to have hundreds of them. The NECA figures that used to come out, they used to have a ton of those. They used to have a bunch of cool Sports McFarlane figures. So Toys R Us, hands down, my number one. And I used to love going in there and the smell of the place. The smell of the place was friggin' awesome. So anyway, Toys R Us, number one. We miss you. I wish it would come back in some way, shape, or form. You know. So anyway.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, they reached the sign down. I guess they.
Patrick, take us away.
Wait, real quick. I want to throw one out.
Okay.
Chevys.
Okay. I had some really bad boo boys.
Hey, you can't beat the $7 plates
still
out.
good, though.
I think Mike had one. I mean, one.
I don't want to go until he goes.
All right.
I missed that.
I do want to say that at the end.
Do you think I'm thinking of the same thing?
Oh, we're
you?
thinking of the same
Do you
thing.
want to just get it out the way now and go?
No,
Does it
because
involve-
it might be on yours.
I don't think it
Does
is.
it involve raising a flag?
It involves raising.
Oh.
I
How
almost
the
put that
fuck
on
was I
mine.
reading
Look,
that?
I come up with
We-
Chevys and I
we
don't
just
even
know
think.
each other.
I don't even think ponchos. God damn.
Poncho. man.
But it,
The original ponchos,
The
not that
original.
reincarnation with the
No.
bugs on the wall and
Yeah,
shit.
The original.
The one that we have on the wall.
And I think that's probably what made
With
most
the-
of us leave it off. Is because
with the
when they-
waitress?
they
That may or may not be a waitress.
when they, I remember that person too.
That fella also worked at the Frankenstein's place in the Lakeside Mall.
Also ain't that no more.
Frankenstein's.
It was a hot dog place.
I'm glad you you said yours now because my sister loves that place, Ponchos. I despised it.
Really?
Yes, the only thing good there to me was the sopapillas.
They were so.
Everything else, I
It's the
it's
rice
just
and
meh.
cheese sauce.
If I would have remembered ponchos on my list, that probably would.
It was definitely more about quantity, not quality. It was because you could just keep eating and
And, like,
eating
Gotta
and
raise the
eating.
flag.
I love a good buffet, but it just didn't do it for me as a young adult or whatever like that.
Fun fact: they still have ponchos in Texas. Mm-hmm. We need to take a road
I was
trip.
gonna say, well, this Mexican kick.
Yeah, when we go visit the 15 breweries,
What was you about to say?
Let's say since we're on this Mexican
China.
kick, what I miss in Baton Rouge is ninfas.
Oh, it was.
Because the first time I tried that was in Houston with my parents on a trip, and then realized they had one in Baton Rouge. And I remember we used to go to a competition in that Marriott that was right by ninfas every year for like Mu Alpha Theta or whatever. And that was like what I'd look forward to in the trip is walking over to ninfas and eating there. But now it's like I don't even know what the hell. It's not even a restaurant anymore.
All right, couple honorable mentions. The first one will be Ralph and Cacoo's. Not so much because
Yes, all of these.
See, I thought I was gonna include that because it's one of my
Yeah,
favorite
maybe
restaurants,
it
but
is.
they still got the one out in
We used to
Mobile.
go there a lot.
yeah, that was more specific to me because both my sister and brother-in-law worked there when they were early 20s. Growing up, starting a family, they both were there. So I got a lot of food as a child brought home for, or dropped off to me at my mom's house from them there, and we ate there a decent amount of times just because we got good service.
Hush puppies.
Hush puppies.
Yeah,
I was gonna
100%.
say all of us in
So
the
good.
here, all of us associate Hush Puppies and Ralph and Cacoo's.
Yeah, for sure.
They still have the one in what Mobile.
Yeah, I ate there last Thanksgiving
There you go.
and Lambert's.
Another honorable mention for me, Bennigan's.
Yeah,
We would go. I would go there after
I like Bennigan.
Best Buy. We drive all on every Sunday. My roommates and I would leave after work or just whenever everyone got off of work. Drive to the West Bank to go to Bennigan's and just like pig out for hours at a time. We'd always get like the wings because the wings were really good. But I don't remember a damn thing else about the place other than we would always go there on a Sunday. I always got wings or something like a burger. Kind of thing that was the first time I ever had a burger with like a fried egg on top. And that's where it started for me was at Bennigan's. The food probably wasn't that great looking back in hindsight.
Yeah.
But it was just Sunday tradition after we all got off of work, we're going to Bennigan's.
It was maybe a notch above Chili's or Applebee's.
Yeah.
Now, you had suggested a while back that we do a top 5 sandwiches episode.
Yes.
And there is a sandwich at Bennigan's
I thought of another one.
that.
Okay.
So did I.
One of my that would probably
I know,
be
they
my
keep
list.
triggering
I want to say
things.
what it is in case we do the top 5.
Okay.
Did you go yet? Yeah, you did. Yeah.
My last honorable mention, pretty much mentioned by everyone, is loggers. When after work or before work or whatever the case may be, that's where we all kind of went to clock out for a drink. We go to loggers. Their amazing beer selection couldn't be beat at the time. They had everything you wanted. They had I think I had Strawgator for the first time there.
Did everybody say lockers?
I didn't.
I didn't, but it would be on my list. Yeah.
I said lagers and Wob.
Haven't heard anybody else say Wob yet.
Number 5 was mentioned by a few people. For me, it's Blockbuster. One, more specific, because that was the first time I was ever allowed to curse. My sister's best friend she liked to fuck with me because I was a younger kid. And my brother-in-law was like, Patrick, just tell her F you. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like 8, 9 years old. He's like, no, your mom won't find out. We weren't going to tell her. Like, Tracy's getting on your ass. Like, just go tell her fuck you. And I'm like, I can't do that. And he kept just egging me on. And finally, I walked up to her and I just said as a timid, like 9-year-old boy, I'm just like, fuck you. And she's like, Patrick. And it was just, that was the biggest standout memory for me of Blockbuster. But that's also where I discovered GoldenEye. And I would rent it every week until I saved my allowance enough to go buy the game itself. But going there, rent, like kind of just like Sean said, you go there, you couldn't find the case behind the cover.
Oh, and the best is you go up to the counter and you'd ask them, they don't have any copies, and they dig and they'd find one for you behind the counter.
Yeah, it was always like a little treat that they didn't have it behind the cover game, but then you found one or found something next to it.
Oh, wait, let me rewind it first.
Yeah, but I discovered all the games.
Hey,
Kind rewind.
one of the players of the game, Anzalone.
Yeah. So yeah, Blockbuster's number 5. Number 4 for me, I wouldn't expect you guys to know this place or I've ever been there. It's a place called Eastover Country Club. It's a golf course in New Orleans East.
4 touchdowns.
It's important and special to me, kind of like Russell had some personal ones on his list. This is the first real job I ever had. My dad was like a superintendent, so I worked for my dad. So during the summer, I didn't like go to camps or anything like that. I went to, probably a 6-year-old, I would go with my dad at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, help him work on golf course equipment, help the employees go cut the grass and cut the hole in the greens and all like that. So I learned how to work on stuff there. I had a go-kart. So I learned how to drive a go-kart from driving around that place. Same thing with like a four-wheeler, golf cart. That's actually how I learned how to play golf, because when I was done helping my dad, in the afternoons I would go with the golf pro where he was giving a lesson, and I would just tag along with him. And that actually is part of how I got, part of how I decided to end up going to Jesuit, because one of the soccer coaches was also a member there. And he's like, well, why don't you come work for you remember the New Orleans Riverboat Gamblers? Mm-hmm. The owner, president, I guess, of Eastover Country Club was a part owner of that team. So I used to also work for the New Orleans Riverboat Gamblers, setting up like all the flags that were up at Pan American Stadium. We would put those up every Saturday or Sunday for game day. So that was just a very special place for me. I have a ton of memories of growing up and getting in trouble and learning a lot of just stuff in life that has helped me to this day. But Eastover Country Club was my first job where I earned money. I remember my first paycheck was $91. I worked like 20 to 30 something hours that week as a 14, 15-year-old kid with like the work permit. But yeah, my first check was like $91, and I worked at a golf course. So that's how I learned.
Where
how
was
to
this
play.
at?
In the east, off the Reed Boulevard exit, so like the last exit before you start getting towards Michoud. There was like a Home Depot that was right. So actually right where the Toys R Us was. Mm-hmm. If you know the Toys R Us in the east.
Oh, there was one. Jesus.
There's a on the service road behind that Toys R Us. You take that. There's a Home Depot. That side entrance was the back part of the golf course. Okay. I met a lot of really, at the time, like rich New Orleanians. Mm-hmm. That's where they own houses. I also met all of Cash Money because they had a house in the golf course community. So I got to go and be on the set of like the Get Your Roll On video because it was shot at their house in Eastover Country Club. So that place is always special to me. That's first job, tons of memories. All my dad's friends worked there too.
This is where Patrick became a man.
This became a deviant, yeah, something like that. Number 3, Russell mentioned it. It wasn't on my list until he brought it up, and I think Todd adjusted his list. It's the Zephyrs. I know the shrine is still there, and it's now occupied by the Nola Gold. But when it was Zephyrs, even the baby cakes, but the Zephyrs for Thirsty Thursday, $2 dogs, $2 beers, whatever. There was nothing I enjoyed more than just going to a baseball game on a whatever night and just sitting there for 3 hours. Not even so much caring about the baseball game, but just getting to relax and hang out and chill.
Thirsty Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, just get a bunch of people just go and
Beer
just
and
watch
dog,
baseball
man.
games. Yeah. Number 2 for me is Celebration Station. First time I ever got like on a real go-kart was there, and I didn't care about any other games. I would just go in the go-kart, go play putt-putt, and like the boat that had the little water gun cannon on the front of it. I would spend all my time there. Even
I fell in that pool.
I'm sure there's a pretty good story behind that somewhere. But yeah, Celebration Station was just a ton of memories. That's where I played video games a lot and stuff like that, or arcade games, I guess. But yeah, the go-kart track, the bumper boats. Yeah, it was a bumper boats.
Bumper boats.
Yeah, bumper boats.
The batting cages.
Yeah, the batting cage. I couldn't remember if they had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. And then obviously putt there was a big thing too. My number 1 is the rival to a lot of y'all's mentioned places and some people's number 1s. And again, it's personal because I work there. It's KB Toys. I started there at, I think, 17. Again, needed a permit to work there, but I would either, before I got a car, I would get dropped off out there, work, get picked up, but then I got my car and I would drive myself there. I ended up becoming an assistant manager, and I've told stories on the episodes about how all the toys that would come in, I would get to see them first, and I'd cherry pick a few here and there, but not only that, we would just have so much fun working because we're in a toy store. What better thing to do than play with the toys that you're going to sell to someone? In a sense, so I got to be a kid and be an adult and make some, for the time, relatively decent money there. But I think probably the biggest memory for me out of KB Toys is the fact that I met my friends Wade and Keith, and you guys know me. Cars is my number 1 thing in life, right? I met these guys as an 18-year-old. They are almost 20 years older than me, and I met them at the car show that I used to have in front of the toy store once every month. I met them.
Is this the story when you lost your virginity?
I was gonna say that's where he became a man.
No. That didn't happen until 6 years later. Fun fact for you guys about that, but whatever. That's the time for another day.
Well, you said 17. All right, doing the math here.
Yeah. I was a late bloomer in that regard. But I met those guys. I'm still friends with them to this day. I've been there. I was there for the birth of both their kids. I've been with the family since I was 18. They are probably some of the longest standing friends I have. So it's a very special place for me. One, because of the fun I had working there and my coworkers, my buddy Rashad, my buddy Richard, some of the managers that I know and met that helped me springboard from going to Best Buy.
Was the Rashad the dude at Best Buy?
Yeah.
The tall guy?
Yeah.
The one that's a Chief fan.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember him. Yeah.
Met him. He also worked at KB Toys. He worked at the one in Lakeside for a while, and then we kind of cross-trained every now and then. So I would be at the KB Toys in Lakeside every now and then, but I started at the Elmwood location. But yeah, that's a more of a special kind of pick for me, just because I met some of my, I guess I say, lifelong best friends there.
Right.
That even though they're like 13 years old, they got me and they taught me how to drink and how to drink in excess and drink heavily and this and that. But from then I've had so many memories of going racing with them. Like they took me under the wing. They taught me pretty much everything about cars that I didn't know because since my dad had passed, I guess. Mm-hmm. They kind of taught me all the advanced stuff like that. So that's a special place for me. Also, I just had a ton of fun being a kid at the toy store. Like you paid me to play with toys.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
your
the best
first
thing.
jobs and stuff were the best.
Yeah,
You know?
but it wasn't like I was like a grocery store employee, like just kind of like muddling along. I was playing with razor scooters and crashing and wrecking them and doing all kind of dumb fun shit like that all the time.
My first job and Biff's technically was when we got too old to go to summer camp that his dad ran. It was like 12. So when we started at Rummel, Then we became counselors in training or CITs, and they paid us. And it's like we literally are a year older than the kids that are at camp, and we're getting paid to go to camp, basically, to work. Like the most we ever did was like help serve snacks or take trash out. We did hardly anything, and for a whole summer, like 8 weeks, best whopping paycheck for the whole summer, $430. Thought I was freaking rich as hell.
Yeah.
In ninth grade with a $430 check. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out to Toys R Us because that was the place I went. KB Toys was very small, right? Super small. So they didn't have near the volume of inventory that Toys R Us had. So when we didn't have it, I would just go to Toys R Us and buy it from there, or play some stuff that they got ahead of time. There, but yeah, Toys R Us was all would have been in the list had it not been for.
You working at KB?
No, it would have been there, but honestly, Russell's Zephyr mention probably moved that, but it wasn't on the initial list. But same vein as KB Toys, you could pick either one for me, but it was definitely KB Toys because I worked there.
I got two more real quick that I thought of that nobody mentioned. One of them,
Serrano's. We thought. I
Carne
said, don't
asada.
yell that out. It might be on your list.
Yeah, that should have been.
And then another
Pizza?
one, Shoney's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Salad Bar.
Fucking
I thought about O. Henry's.
Ryan's
When you mentioned,
for the West Bank trip.
do they still have those?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like the place.
What place?
Coyote Blues. Of all the Mexican places we mentioned, that's like
that
number
was on one
7.
of our episodes.
Yeah, I want to say y'all trashed it. I don't know why I like that place. I did.
Well, somebody kept it open.
You love what
Thanks,
you love.
Russell.
Yeah, Russell kept it alive.
I did notice that Mike's mentioning a lot of Mexican restaurants. May explain the horrible gas that he's got right now.
Maybe so.
Well,
Podcast would have hurting on me.
on that, I guess back down memory lane. Ain't there no more bombshell? We ain't here no more. Wagons out.
Wagons out.